scale and gave my administration a new mandate based on the work we have done to earn their confidence. Madam Speaker, I have a gift here. If the standing orders would allow, I want to give it to the leader of the opposition. If he doesn't, if you don't want, that's fine. But I thought it would have been so appropriate. I thought this would be a good. By the way, Madam Speaker, this is a cap that is Prime Minister's. It therefore must be considered very carefully. My current decision to forego any salary increase could easily be changed by another Prime Minister in the future, or a new mandate may give an opportunity to reconsider the Prime Minister's salary. On September 3rd, 2025, leader of the opposition, the people of Jamaica weighed all these matters in the political scale and gave my administration a new mandate based on the work we have done to earn their confidence. Madam Speaker, I have a gift here. If the standing orders would allow, I want to give it to the leader of the opposition. If he doesn't, if you don't want, that's fine. I thought it would have been so appropriate. I thought this would be good. By the way, Madam Speaker. This is a cap that is one of our local designers. It's a very popular cap, and I thought that the leader of the opposition would do well. For not only the current holder of the office of Prime Minister, but previous Prime Ministers or their surviving spouses, and possibly future Prime Ministers. It therefore must be considered.
Good morning. Good morning. My God, I haven't slept since last night. Good evening to you, Caroline. How are you doing?
Good evening, neighbor. I'm doing great.
You're doing great.
Yes, neighbor. How about you?
Well, to say that I'm tired is an understatement. It's 22 minutes to 7 o'clock. I hope I can make it to 7. I haven't been able to take a nap since I let you hear last night, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear, neighbor.
No, you. Anyway, how you listened to the entire budget presentation, Caroline. How do you see it?
Neighbor, I was like, oh my God, this is something else. Never in my lifetime have I ever heard anything like this before. This is amazing. So much things are happening or going to be happening in Jamaica, neighbor.
Yeah. Well, it was. Go ahead.
Yes, neighbor. When I was looking at the charts and all those pictures that were being shown of all the plans that the Prime Minister has for Jamaica, I was like, wow. I speechless, neighbor. I was not expecting this.
Yes. but the opposition leader got a cap.
Neighbor, you know,
Anti bad mind cap. What a cap? You know, the opposition leader came on Thursday talking about immature Khan in the call no foul. The Prime Minister came with a cap. I tell you, what a cap.
oh dear. As a matter of fact, neighbor, he should have brought him a jacket.
Yes, sir. Maybe a jacket would have been appropriate too. But yeah, it was a separation, you know. It really was like listening to a professor at the university lecturing a primary school student as to how to put a speech together. There was no comparison.
It really wasn't, neighbor. And to be honest with you, I was expecting the Prime Minister to come on to be somewhat combative because of all the things that they came with, which was nothing.
No,
you know?
The Prime Minister is a statesman.
He came, neighbor, he just came out and he just had so much information for us.
He's the Prime Minister. He is the Prime Minister. Yeah.
I was blown away, neighbor. I mean, I was like, wow. I was in awe for the rest for the entire time.
Yeah, proud to be a Labourite, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, neighbor, couldn't be prouder. Couldn't be prouder to be a Labourite. Couldn't be prouder to be a Jamaican.
Fantastic. What a great day for Jamaica.
It is. It
what a
really
great day.
is.
Well, I prepared something here for my listeners. You want me to go ahead with that?
Definitely, neighbor.
Yes, and I will go ahead with that, and then we will take up Scratch and Harry, and then we will get other reflections from our listeners. No doubt, eh?
Definitely.
Okay, I know they're anxious to speak, but bear with us, listeners. As a matter of fact, we had some technical difficulties today, so we weren't able to do as well as we wanted to do, but bear with us. You hear? I'm sure we will get this correct in short order. We will get it correct. There is no question about it. All right, so let's go to the pages of the notes. Shafreen, if you are listening, good evening to you. Scratchy, if you are listening, good evening. It's 18 minutes to 7 o'clock. Harry, if you are listening, good evening to you. All my listeners, Joshua, every one of you. Yeah, I know you're all listening. Hundreds of you. Now,
neighbor, just before you go, please allow me to just ask the listeners to share the live and to repost the live if they're able to. But nevertheless, if you're not able to, please tap on the screen. All right, have a great show, neighbor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Listeners, for those of you who did not hear the presentation, we'll play some of it for you. The Prime Minister started just after 2 o'clock and was on his feet for over 4 hours. What a man. What a moment for Jamaica. If you had any doubts, you know, Mr. Golin was on all angles last night saying that he's going to be there in 2030. Now, to use a cricket analogy, if you are a West Indian, then this is an innings that will not be matched. This is a fourth-term speech. The Prime Minister cemented himself as a favorite for a fourth term. And I'm going to do something that no media house in Jamaica will do. The way I will approach this, no media house can do it. The opposition leader spoke about building back better. The Prime Minister spoke to building forward together. Those two themes tells you something about the two vision. And I'm going to point it out to you. Mark Golding wants to build back better. Andrew Holness says he wants to build forward together. And you know, in moments of national trial, leadership is not merely about words. It is about the spirit those words summon in people, in the themes of the presentations. And I think Mark Golding and his team blundered when they chose that theme. Wholeness is building forward. Mark is looking back. See if you see it. Mark Golding wants to take us back to where we were pre-Melissa. Wholeness says, let's go forward. Fascinating stuff. Mark want to build back. Wholeness say, we're not going to only build back. We're building forward. Is no match for him as a leader. And you know, it's a rare quality, you know. There was only one Moses. Yes. One Joseph. There's one Neighbour. There's only one Wholeness. And it was on full display today. And when I saw it, I said, my God, the PNP is really in trouble here. Mark Golding says, let's build back. Wholeness says, let's build forward. You see that? Do you see the sharp philosophical difference in approaches? And as I listened to Mr. Holness delivered his 11th budget presentation, of thought grounded in order, in resilience, and forward motion. Technocratic, but not cold. He was the language of a man attempting to translate crisis into continuity, and continuity into progress. It was less about applause and more about alignment. Not as a nation broken by disaster, but tempered by it. It's a fascinating study. Contrast that with Mark Golding. His speech carried the sharp edge of critique, the necessary fire of more like a mirror held up in grievance than a window open to possibility. His call to build back better is in essence noble, but it looks backward before it looks forward. It implies restoration before transformation. Golding wants to restore. Holness wants to transform. Oh, it's a classic study in leadership. No, we have to choose. We have to choose Holness. We have to choose Holness over Golding. I mean, guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say this. If you had any doubt about Holness, erase those doubts from do I have a hat? I lift my hat to take a bow. Take a bow, Andrew. Oh God, I am getting a little I'm getting a little emotional doing this. I'm so impressed. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for my country. This man is Jamaica's best. He's a gift from God. I tell you the truth. You know, I tell you, it's fascinating stuff. This man distinguished himself from Mr. Golding in a way today that I'm so impressed. As a man, I would consider myself a bit of an intellectual too. I don't know. I can see things through. Oh, wow. Blown away. Golding is looking back. Holness looks forward. Golding wants to restore. Holness wants to transform. And perhaps more critically, it seems tuned to resonate with the familiar echoes of his political base. That is Golding. Golding was speaking to his political base rather than reaching onward to unify a storm-shaken people. And here lies the deeper distinction. One that transcends politics and enters into the realm of leadership as a moral art. Here you have a distinction. Two men, one a politician, the other a leader. Because to build back is to return. To build forward is to become. I wonder if you see me. One leader wants us to go back. The other leader wants us to go forward. Wow. Wholeness is speaking of building forward together. From resilience to resurgence. Who chose this for Mr. Ole? Who it is that put this together for him? Oh, you're brilliant. He situates leadership not in nostalgia, but in evolution. It is philosophically rooted in what the Greeks call philos. It's philos, an end purpose, a becoming. It acknowledges the hurricane not as an interruption of destiny, but as a crucible within the destiny. Trials may come, wholeness is saying to the nation, but we're moving forward. Brilliant. The opposition leader's approach, combative, critical. He fulfills his democratic duty of scrutiny. But in times of collective vulnerability, critique without unifying horizons risks sounding like division without direction. Golding answers the question, what is wrong? But leadership, especially now, must also answer, where do we go together? Because after devastation, a nation not only needs accountability, it needs orientation. So the choice as it presents itself in these two voices is almost philosophical in its clarity. One man speaks of systems, continuity, and shared assent. The other speaks of resistance, correction, and partisan affirmation. Both of them have their place in a democracy. But in the shadow of a hurricane, when homes are gone, when uncertainty lingers in the air like humidity, people are not just listening for who is right. They are listening for the person who can lead them through. And perhaps that is the quiet truth at the heart of this moment. Leadership is not only tested by how it confronts its opponents, but by how it carries its people beyond the storm, beyond the rubble, and into the fragile, necessary work of becoming whole again. This is the type of leadership that I've never seen in my lifetime. This is amazing stuff. This is inspirational. I was not around much of man I'm lost for words. This is amazing stuff. Am I somebody pinch me? This is great. We are part of greatness here. I feel like I want to to make sure that this works for Jamaica. I get a little water here. My God, no. If I'm in a dream, wake me up. If I'm asleep, wake me up. This is great. There is a subtle but profound philosophical divide hidden in the two men. Golden says we need to build back better. Wholeness says let's build forward. You'll not hear this on any radio station in Jamaica. You'll only get this here on the Politics Plus podcast. What a man. One goes beyond policy and enters the realm of how human beings understand time, loss, and possibility. Because to say build back is to anchor oneself in memory. Like you said to your girlfriend, let's get back together. It assumes that what existed before the rupture, the hurricane, the crisis, was the proper state of things. Now, here's where the opposition is so wrong. When they say build back, they assume that Jamaica was at a state where it was proper. In other words, Black River remained the same. It is restorative. It seeks equilibrium by returning to the prior form. There may be some comfort in this language because it reassures. It tells a wounded nation, we will restore what we have lost. But it also carries a limitation. Golden speech limits the nation. Let's build back. Let's restore what we have lost. It binds the imagination to the past. It defines progress as recovery, not transformation. But when wholeness says, let's build forward, it is something altogether different. It is anchored in what was, but in what. It's not anchored in what was, but in what might yet be. It is aspirational. It is evolutionary. It suggests that the disaster, while it was tragic, is not merely something to reverse, but something to transcend. This is this is what we talk about when we talk about becoming than restoring. It's closer to growth than repair. Let's not just grow. It tells the nation, you are not going back. You are going beyond. Golding says to Jamaica, let's go back. Holness says, let's go beyond. Oh, the difference is stark. Because in political communication, especially in a post-hurricane crisis moment, that distinction matters more than it may first appear. Because when the Prime Minister speaks of building forward together, from resilience to resurgence, he's not just outlining a policy trajectory, he's framing the national psyche. Wholeness is going for the mind. Golding is playing with people's emotions. Wholeness is positioning the country within a narrative of ascent, one where suffering becomes the raw material for advancement. The kind of language that expands the emotional horizon of the people, because he invites them to see themselves not as victims trying to reclaim yesterday, but as agents stepping into a redefined tomorrow. Never seen this before. Are your internet bad, man? Are you hearing me, moderate? Not moderate. Are you hearing me, Caroline?
Yes, neighbor.
When you contrast that with Mark Golding, who is emphasizing building back better, the intention is constructive, but the framing is narrow because it is tethered in the past. Let me take you a little further. You see, there is a fault line between returning and becoming. One leader said, let's go back. The other leader said, let's become. Andrew Holness frames leadership as laying a foundation for what comes next. Forward-looking, structural, enduring. Mark Golding is fixated on what was. Rebuilding from memory rather than reimagining from possibility. One leader wants to return, the other wants us to become. The fault line. Secondly, one leader is futuristic, the other is about the former. What does the Bible say? Forget the former things. Wholeness speaks the language of the future. A nation not confined to its past, but called into its potential. Golding's Build Back centers the form. A prior state elevated as the benchmark, even if that state had its own limitations. He's saying, let's build back. One man says, let's go forward. Thirdly, it's faith versus fracture. The Prime Minister communicates faith in systems, in resilience, in collective capacity to rise together. Golding's combative tone can create fracture. One leader is speaking of faith. The other is fracturing the country, energizing the critics, but risking division at a moment that requires cohesion. Faith versus fracture. Wholeness leans into formation, shaping what Jamaica is becoming after a crisis. Golding leans into forensics. Formation versus forensic. Golding is dissecting what went wrong, assigning scrutiny, which is necessary, but not sufficient for inspiration. One leader leans into formation. The other leans into forensic. One is an eternal optimist. The other is pessimistic. Wholeness embodies forwardness, a psychological push beyond the storm into new ground. Golding offers familiarity. Forwardness versus familiarity. A return to what people knew, which comforts but may not compel transformation. Formation, wholeness. Fixation, Golding. Future, wholeness. Former, Golding. Faith, wholeness. Fracture, Golding. Formation, wholeness. Forensics, Golding. Forwardness, wholeness. Familiarity, Golding. This is not simply a clash of policies. It is a clash of posture or postures. One posture say, we will recover. That's Golding. The other posture says, we will redefine. Before I go to my callers, I don't want to be too long. Andrew Holness' theme is building forward together, from resilience to resurgence. Mark Golding says, let's build back better. Andrew Holness projects control, measured, methodical, deliberate. His technocratic tone suggests a leader who believes stability is achieved through calibration and careful stewardship. Mark Golding leans into confrontation. Holness is technocratic and controlled. Golding, confrontational, energized, reactive, sharpened by opposition. His posture reflects a psyche more comfortable, challenging power than embodying it. When you psychoanalyze the approach, this is a man who wants power. He doesn't know how to use power, but he wants it. And that can be linked to the whole elitism the Toponaris type of thinking, you know. You may not even be aware of it, but it is there. They want control through power, not money, you know. The prestige of power. It's a feather in their cap. The character behind the communication. Wholeness projects measured, methodical, deliberate, technocratic. He believes in stability, and that stability is achieved over a long period of time. That stability is calibrated through careful stewardship. That's what Jesus taught when he gave them the talents. Go build on what you've got. The opposition leader leans into confrontation. One leader wants continuity. The other wants correction. The Prime Minister signals continuity. I believe that progress is the steady unfolding. You know, Jamaicans listening to me at home and abroad, be patient. Be patient. Jamaica is going to be great. Be patient. I see every sign here that this country in the next 10 years will be one of the greatest third world countries in the world. I see in this presentation tonight that if we be patient and support the Prime Minister, every Jamaican will move up and step up in a life. Money I go jingle in no pocket. I'm telling you that. Be patient. You see all you people, yes, the minimum wage is to go up by $1,000. Just be patient, man. Hold on a little bit. It's going to happen, you know. It's going to happen. Auntie Maisie, be patient, you hear? Mas Bim Bim, be patient, man. All you public sector workers, be patient. It's going to happen for you. We don't need any change at this time. I feel like although we have a democracy, we should just come together and agree that this man must be the Prime Minister for a long time. And that can work within the democracy, you know. All we have to do is to keep electing him. Because we can't run. The man have a vision. And the other man does not. And if you want to know what leadership is about, and not emotional rhetoric, listen to the two men make their speech in Parliament. It's cheese to chalk. What Mark Golden had there on Tuesday is grade 1 stuff. This is doctoral stuff. Let's put on our Parliament now. Continuity versus correction. Wholeness signals continuity. I believe that progress is a steady unfolding. Even though there is some disruption, psychologically it reflects confidence. in the existing systems and his role within them. Golding emphasized correction, a mindset attuned to flaws, gaps, and necessary change. This suggests a leader whose instincts are to interrogate rather than to expand. Maybe it's because he's a lawyer. It's an interrogative way that he approaches leadership. Control versus confrontation. Continuity versus correction. And then we have confidence versus critique. Confidence versus critique. Wholeness communicates confidence, not just in policy, but in direction. There is an internal certainty that allows him to speak in terms of becoming. Golding embodies critique. His rhetorical strength lies in analysis and accountability. Mr. Golding belongs in the courtroom, not as Prime Minister. He's to go and defend people. He's an interrogative person. He's a lawyer. His mindset, Golding, and it's not a criticism of him, it's a psychoanalytical approach to what I'm seeing before me. His mindset is anchored in skepticism than synthesis. In other words, he doubts things. That's why he prosecutes the Prime Minister so much. If you recall how he prosecutes on the IC, he's always looking for something to criticize. Like he wants to always set a trap for someone that is being cross-examined. Not a weakness, but definitely a weakness in terms of being a politician and a prospective Prime Minister. And then you have cohesion versus constituency. Wholeness reaches for cohesion. His language attempts to gather the whole, to speak across divides, to unify a nation. About the national identity after rapture, Golding appears oriented towards constituency. Wholeness goes for the nation, Golding goes for the comrades. Cohesion, constituency. One man speaks to the country, the other man speaks to the 400,000 people who voted for him. Mr. Golding's tone resonates strongly with his base, suggesting a psychological focus on representation rather than consolidation. And then you have construction versus contest. The Prime Minister is psychologically framed around construction, building systems, shaping futures, assembling long-term visions. Mr. Golding is framed around contest, debate, resistance, the political struggle. Necessary in a democracy, yes, but can it position leadership? Because you can't be perpetually opposing. You can't be perpetually opposing as I close this reflection on the two speeches at 25 after 7 o'clock. Because there's a deeper read, you know. At its core, the contrast reveals two different internal narratives of leadership. One man sees leadership as stewardship of destiny, guiding a people towards their ordered destiny. The other sees leadership as guardianship of accountability, ensuring power is challenged and corrected. Both are essential in a functioning democracy. But in moments of crisis, psychology matters as much as policy. Because people are not only asking who is right. That is why the people were not angry with Vaz when the Auditor General suggested that procurement, were not followed to the T. In a time of crisis, psychology matters more than policy. People don't ask who is right. They are asking who feels ready to carry us. And when you listen to Mr. Golding, and you have the opportunity now to listen to the Prime Minister, which of these men do you really feel have your interest at heart? No, don't talk about the country right now. Talk about you. If you were going to choose one of these men and you're going to give him a job for the rebuilding of your country, or say it was a business that you had, and you interview these two men, and one of them said, okay, I will build back better than before. And the other man said to you, I will build forward. One man promised to put you back where you were. The other man said, I'll take you to horizons you've never been before. There is a fundamental difference in the mindsets of Mr. Golding and Mr. Holness. And I never saw it until today. Never saw it until today. Andrew Holness projects control, continuity, and confidence. He is psychologically oriented towards building. He calls himself a builder. He is oriented towards guiding. He's oriented towards unifying. His language suggests someone who sees leadership as stewardship, shaping the future and carrying the people forward. I would sum him up at that. Let me attempt to do that again. I'm closing now. Don't worry. I would define Mr. Holness as a technocrat who projects control. He's in charge. He understands what he's doing. Firmly at the wheel. Continuity. Confidence. Oriented towards building, guiding, unifying. Steward of the people, shaping their future and carrying the people forward. In other words, he wants every man to step up from where he is. He wants to make every life better than before. He wants to leave his country better. He actually wants Jamaica to be like a first world state. Mark Olin, on the other hand, projects confrontation, correction, critique. Mark Olin, I would say, is a leader who is psychologically attuned to challenging, to exposing, and to representing. His approach reflects the instincts of opposition. He does not project someone who understands what it means to be in charge of a country. Golding is like the perpetual opposition leader, holding power accountable and speaking strongly to his base. In simple terms, one of them, wholeness, is about construction and cohesion. The other is about contest and correction. And I think, if anything, this budget presentation this year made a clear distinction about the choices we have before us. And I think Andrew Holness is by far the better of the two. And I suspect that the majority of people listening to me and the majority of people in Jamaica agrees.